on to Oswald's wedding ring. I made a video about this topic in November of 2019, but now I find that video to be inadequate, so I'm going to take another shot at it. And here, Father Steve Fagan of the Sixth Floor Museum recites the official story of the wedding ring.
At the time of the Kennedy assassination, Lee Harvey Oswald was estranged from his wife Marina, and she and her 2 young children were living in Irving, Texas at the home of her friend Ruth Payne. Oswald would typically go home on Fridays with a depository co-worker named Buell Wesley Frazier, but he deviated from this on the weekend of the assassination. He decided to unexpectedly show up on Thursday night and spend the evening with Marina. During that evening, he tried several times to reconcile with her, and he was constantly rebuffed, and he went to bed very upset that evening. When he got up the next morning, he did not wake Marina, and he left his wedding ring, and he left $187 in cash in a cup on her nightstand. And this was a very uncharacteristic action of Oswald. This is something he had never done before. And he went to work that morning with a package wrapped in brown paper to the Texas School Book Depository. This wedding ring provides a tantalizing window into the mindset of Lee Harvey Oswald. What was he thinking that morning when, for the first time in his marriage, he left his wedding ring behind when he went to work? For many people, this is a symbolic act, the act of a man who knows he can never go home again.
All right, you get the idea. Oswald left his ring in Irving when he went off to murder the president because he knew he could never go home again. But is this wacky story true? I don't know. Let's see. This ring allegedly was auctioned off in 2017, I think it was. And according to the auctioneers, the ring was given to the United States Secret Service by Ruth Payne on December 2nd, 1963. And included in the auctioned materials is this alleged Secret Service receipt, which is not signed or dated, but which claims that the ring had been turned over to the Secret Service on December 2nd, 1963. So we have the document saying so. But we also have Ruth Payne telling the Warren Commission that, to the best of her recollection, she turned over the ring to Special Agent Odom, who was a member of the FBI, not of the Secret Service. Now, at this time, the Secret Service might have given evidence to the FBI because the FBI was officially conducting the investigation. But the FBI never gave evidence to the Secret Service. I don't mean to say they kept it secret, but they would never give the physical evidence over to the Secret Service. So if Ruth Payne's memory is correct, it conflicts with the document which claims that the ring came from the Secret Service, because she remembers giving it to the FBI. Now, Marina herself has different stories about the ring. On November 30th, 1963, she said that she found the ring. But on January 14th, 1963, she said that the police found the ring. And then in February, she says, I don't know, but I think I have this ring somewhere. So in February, which is after December, of course, when Ruth Payne supposedly gave it to the FBI or the Secret Service, Marina thinks she has possession of it somewhere. She's just not sure where it is. So I think this shows that Marina has no idea what she's talking about. And I think that means the story is completely fake. Perhaps she's being told what to say, and perhaps the story hasn't settled down quite yet as to what exactly they want it to be. But it means, I think, that this ring story is fake, that Oswald did not leave his wedding ring in Irving when he went to work on Friday, November 22nd. That's a fake story. But if Oswald did not leave the ring in Irving, then why can't we see it on him in this photograph of him in custody? This is not immediately after he was arrested. This is after he's been interrogated. But we can see that he has his Marine Corps ring, the one circled in green, but up where his wedding ring would be, there is no ring on his ring finger. You can see that here. So apparently Oswald was not arrested wearing his wedding ring, and yet he didn't leave it in Irving either. So where is the wedding ring? Well, back in 2019, I thought that Oswald was arrested with his wedding ring, and that this photograph showed his hand with his ring on it. It shows a right hand, which is where Oswald apparently wore his wedding ring, as is the custom in Russia. But now I think that's probably not correct, and at the time I wasn't too sure. As I noted here, there's a policeman you can't see on from our perspective, the left side of Oswald. You can't see him because there's a sign there on the cage, but you can see that there is a person there. You can see part of the detective's hat up there, and I think this is probably the policeman's hand, even though he has a ring on his right hand. I don't think it's Oswald. I think this is a policeman's ring, and therefore I think Oswald probably was not arrested with the wedding ring on his hand. Now, Oswald might have been arrested wearing the ring. We can't be sure, because when we see him being brought out of the Texas Theater, we can't see his hands. When he's marched into the police station, we can't see his hands. The first time we can see his hands is when he comes out of that first interrogation, and he's not wearing the ring then. So it's possible that the police arrested him wearing the ring and took the ring off him because they wanted to use it to implicate him in shooting the president. That is to say, well, he left it in Irving, so that means he went to go shoot the president. I entertained that theory before in 2019, but now I don't think it makes sense, because they already have Oswald. Whether you believe the story or not, it's the official story that he brought his rifle from Irving on that morning to the Texas School Book Depository. So if their story is that he brought the rifle, they don't need a ring to implicate him, to give him the intention, the premeditation that he's going to go shooting the president. They already have him bringing the rifle. That is the weightiest evidence you can have, that he brought his rifle to work that day. The ring adds nothing at all to that. And so I don't think the story was created in order to implicate Oswald. I think the story was created out of a necessity to explain why Oswald was not wearing his wedding ring when we can see him in custody not wearing it. They have to tell us why he didn't wear it, and I think that's why they created the story. But if that's the case, then why wasn't he wearing it? And the answer is Harvey. There were 2 arrests at the Texas Theater. One of the people arrested was Lee Harvey Oswald, and the other is the guy I'm calling Harvey because that's what John Armstrong calls him. And John Armstrong owns this territory more than anybody else. I'm not endorsing everything he says, but there were 2 people working together, I say. One of them was Lee Harvey Oswald, and the other was somebody else whom I'm going to call Harvey. Harvey is the guy who went to the Soviet Union. So Harvey is the guy who married Marina Oswald. So Harvey is the guy who would tend to be wearing the wedding ring because he's the one married to Marina. So when they were arrested at the Texas Theater, Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't wearing a wedding ring because he wasn't really married to Marina, but Harvey was. And they don't want us to know about Harvey because then we know it's a conspiracy, and then we know it's an intelligence operation. So in order to hide the fact that Harvey was not arrested, that Harvey was arrested, so we don't know that Harvey existed, and because we can see in the photography Oswald isn't wearing the ring, they have to create a story for that wedding ring. And therefore, they take this opportunity to create a story which implicates Oswald. But the reason they create the story is not to implicate Oswald, it's to hide the fact that Oswald isn't really married to Marina. Harvey is married to Marina. And I think almost all of the Soviet Union photography we have of Lee Harvey Oswald is is altered photography that was altered in order to put Lee Harvey Oswald into the picture, and where Harvey was originally in the picture to remove him. I think we have a photograph here which escaped that faking process, that this is actually Harvey, the man that Marina actually married in the Soviet Union. And somehow they missed this one, but Marina identified it as her husband, Lee Harvey Oswald, when the FBI asked who these people were. And I don't think that's Lee Harvey Oswald. I think that's Harvey whoever. And there's some more jewelry in the story which I find interesting. According to FBI documents, a watch and another ring had been taken from Oswald. According to this, the FBI says they got from the Dallas Police Department one LeCoultre wristwatch taken from Oswald at time of his apprehension by Dallas Police Department, November 22nd, 1963. A LeCoultre watch is a very expensive watch. It would be odd if Oswald had such a watch. And also there's a nickel-colored ring with 3 clear stones taken from Oswald during the apprehension by the Dallas Police Department. In another document, this is identified as a white gold ring. It's nickel-colored, it's silver-colored, but it's white gold, and it's just like yellow gold, except it's made with, I think it's made with silver, and that's why it looks silver, but it's a gold ring. And Oswald is not otherwise known to have had such a ring. But according to Dallas police documents, these 2 items were said to have been taken from Jack Ruby when he was arrested. It's not clear. It's clear that the official story would say that these items belong to Jack Ruby. So it's possible that the FBI somehow got it wrong. Or it's possible, I think, that the FBI got it right and that the story was changed in the Dallas police documents because the official story can't have these be from Oswald because we don't see them on him. And so I think it's possible, though I certainly can't prove it, that perhaps this watch and this ring came from Harvey when he was apprehended by the Dallas police. It would make sense that he would have his own watch and his own, perhaps another ring other than a wedding ring. But I don't know. It could be that they really are Jack Ruby's and the FBI just somehow got it wrong in their documents. And perhaps of interest are a couple of other watches apparently belonging to Oswald, which were found by the police at Ruth Payne's house. One is a Ben Rus wristwatch. I couldn't find this in a photograph, but that is a fine watch brand also. Not as expensive as LeCoultre, but probably fairly expensive for someone like Oswald. They also did make military watches, so maybe it's a military watch. I can't find a photo of it. And here it says he has an Elgin pocket watch. There is a photo of that, and it's actually a stopwatch. Again, they also made military watches for bombardiers in World War II era. I can't tell what this pictured watch is, but the assassination planning, in the assassination planning, a stopwatch would have been useful if it was done the way that I think it was done, where people had to coordinate their actions and know how long it would take them to get from one place to another. So perhaps it was used in that endeavor. And of course Oswald was wearing his Marine Corps ring and his name bracelet, and I think maybe these items were so that he could be easily identified by his presumed Cuban contact who was going to meet him and accompany him to Mexico and to Cuba, according to my theory. So I think we've got enough jewelry here for 2 Oswalds, and I'm just about out of time, so I'll just leave it at that.